Hey, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a este episodio especial de Mezclas Abruptas. Lo digo especial porque también está bueno para las personas que hablan inglés. For English, just wait a little bit. Esta es una entrevista que hice a través de Ibero 90.9, estación de radio, y también para Mezclas Abruptas, porque ahora Mezclas Abruptas está en la frecuencia modulada a las 3 de la tarde, además de ser este podcast de pláticas y entrevistas, pues ahora tiene una versión musical donde hago unos selector sets para la radio y están bien divertidos. Jueves, 3 de la tarde. En fin, esta entrevista es con el señor Sed Dog de Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill es esta agrupación icónica del hip hop de Los Ángeles, que justo se roba el nombre de una calle de Los Ángeles y que por ahí brotó en 1991 con un álbum homónimo. Y después le siguieron con otro álbum de estudio que se llama Black Sunday, donde está Insane in the Brain, por ejemplo. Cypress Hill, independientemente de que son padrísimos y que su sonido siempre fue súper distintivo, también llamó muchísimo la atención en su momento porque eran muy vocales y muy abiertos respecto al uso de la marihuana y lo importante que era legalizarla. Estamos ahora en esta entrevista con Sed Dog de Cypress Hill porque justo ese segundo álbum de estudio, el Black Sunday, ahora se grabó en vivo en el Royal Albert Hall con la Orquesta Sinfónica de Londres. Y por ahí los que son fans de Los Simpsons van a decir, oh, como en Los Simpsons. Yo no topo esa referencia, no topo ese chiste, pero ya vi el tráiler y está increíble. ¿Qué va a pasar? Por ahí del 6 de junio, si no me equivoco, les voy a confirmar la fecha, el 6 de junio de este año se va a liberar en formato físico y en formato digital este álbum de estudio. Pero también hay una película que van a poder ver en salas y que es sobre pues, todo este concierto en vivo. Está bien chido, está muy interesante. Yo al final la plática con Sed Dog la llevé alrededor pues en algún momento el hip hop fue algo que fue censurado, como visto hacia abajo por las élites y el mundo intelectual. Ahora están en un espacio donde se les está dando como esta gran validación artística. Y quería saber cómo lo veía él, como si lo veía como un win, si lo veía como una validación, si lo veía como un no me importa. Quería saber cómo lo veía. Quería también, pues desde su postura y sus años y carrera musical, ¿qué opinaba sobre cuando de repente se quieren censurar ciertos géneros musicales, ciertas historias, ciertas expresiones artísticas debido al contexto de cualquier país y sobre todo lo que está pasando ahorita con la música mexicana y la realidad del país? Y por ahí tiene una respuesta bien, bien interesante. Y también en algún momento le pregunté que si tuviera que explicarle la música a los perros, ¿cómo lo haría? Se puso bien mezclas abruptas este episodio. Nada, los dejo con la entrevista con el señor Sed Dog y espero que les guste muchísimo.
Mezclas abruptas con Susana Medina.
Sed, how are you? Such an honor to be talking to you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor. Likewise, for sure. I'm doing good. Thank you. I hope you are too.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm very excited. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Susana. I've been a music journalist for over, I don't know, I think almost 18 years or something. And I have a radio show that's named Mezclas Abruptas, and where I do selector sets and I just like play music that I think goes well together. And that show is also a podcast. And I interview people at my podcast, usually musicians, but since it's like abrupt mixes, sometimes I interview people that do weird stuff that interests me. So yeah, that's me. And if you think there's like a weird question, it's because the podcast at some point gets weird, but I hope it's going to be fun.
Yes.
Right away, my first question is, and I'm going somewhere with this, like, do you recall the first instrument that you played or that was given to you? Like the first time you held a microphone or like the person that actually like lent it to you?
The first instrument, huh? Wow. Oh, wow. That's a good question. I would say, um, I would say it was probably the guitar, and that's just something
Okay.
that I just got into. No one gave it to me or anything like that. It was just I've always had a fascination with the guitar instrument itself, and some of the great people that have played the guitar, like Jimi Hendrix Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton,
Oh,
Tony Iommi type of thing. When I saw a band, I really just watched the guitar player. I saw everything else, but I would just watch the guitar player. So at one point, I just decided I'm gonna get a guitar and I'm gonna see what happens. And I started playing around with it and seeing what could become of it. I still, I don't, I don't, I wouldn't want to go walk on stage and try to play it because I don't play it well. But um, I definitely am a big fan of guitar music.
I didn't expect you to say that. It's very interesting, and I wanted to compare like if you think of yourself at that point where you were like holding the guitar and learning your first chords, and then you compare it to the like 3 days doing the live show recording at Royal Albert Hall. Like, how would you describe the feeling? Like knowing you were once that kid, and then being there recording. How would you compare it?
I don't think there's a comparison. To think about it and dream about it, it's one thing, but to actually go there and do it and stand up there with the orchestra and everything is something else. And so I don't think that in my wildest dreams would I ever thought that I would be doing that one day in person. So for sure, it was a new experience for me and everybody else, and I it actually made me feel, how can I say, important. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
because we're not up there, in our normal t-shirts and jeans. We have nice tuxedos on and nice shoes and whatnot, and you actually feel the part that you're doing something other than just a hip hop show. It's a classical
Yeah.
and a hip hop show. And we're mixing the two, and it definitely made me feel like I became a little bit closer to being an accomplished, well-rounded musician.
I have to say, like, I did see you guys in suits, and I said they're looking great. This is cool, and I'm gonna like segue with the suits into like my next question. It's weird how at some point the elite, like the fine arts and all that, people look down on music genres like hip hop or even corridos or I don't know, reggaeton artists or whatever, and then at some point there's like this validation and then it happens. I don't know, like I wanted to understand if, like from your whole history, how you see it. Do you see it as a win? Do you see it as like, tenga, like, I don't know, or do you see it like a validation? Like, how do you understand it? If at some point hip hop was sort of like, you know, discriminated or looked down to.
Yeah, well, first of all, I see it as a win for hip hop music, and I definitely think it does validate it, even further. And I understand the fact that hip hop was looked down upon when it first started, but then again, so is rock and roll.
Yeah,
And the same things that they said about rock and roll, they also said about hip hop years later. And somehow the rock and rollers were able to prove everyone wrong, and so were the hip hoppers. And then now you take it into account that we're collaborating with orchestras, and it just goes to show that things that are born naturally and not just thought made up and just say here's something new. Things that happen naturally like rock and roll and hip hop, I think will always be around, and there's no way
yeah,
that you could just stop this kind of music from ever existing. And for, let's say, the London Symphonic Orchestra to to uh to recognize the fact that we did have something special and it would be cool to collaborate. um it just goes to show that people that are, how can I say, doing another a form of more sophisticated music,
yeah,
are also, you know, they're also, hip hop fans, they're rap fans, they're rock and roll fans. They listen to country music, they listen to every kind of music there is. Just because they're doing the symphonic thing, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's all they're about. So when we
yeah,
went there and we met with them and everything, and before the con and the days of rehearsal, the day before, a lot of the musicians were coming up to us and saying, "Hey, man, it's nice to meet you guys. We can't wait for this. It's going to be special. It's going to be great. You know, you guys are the perfect band for this and this and that." So um, it gave me more. It gave me more an understanding where they were coming from mentally, as far as how they see hip hop and their own classical music and what they do, and the fact that um, that they're, you know, when they announced that they were going to be doing a collaboration with Cypress Hill, they were
Yeah.
excited. They were genuinely excited and couldn't wait for that day to come. So and I, you know, and you get it in the compliments that they give you and whatnot, and it made me feel even more at ease knowing that the orchestra was actually into this and they wanted to do it, and it was something new to them as well. So it made it seem like, to me, like they're into it, we're into it, and I think it's going to become out something. It's going to be something really beautiful and special, and that's what
Yeah.
happened.
Talking about how great the sound of an orchestra is and how the record sounds. Yesterday, my dogs have to listen to a lot of my music. They're used to listening to a lot of music. And one of them, his name is Murciélago, bat, because he has like really large bat ears. And I just played like the first track that the label sent me. And the moment the horn started, he doesn't ever like react to music, but the moment where the horn started, like he stood up and his ears like stood up and he turned and looked and went to my computer and started like trying to find out what it was. And I thought it was a very beautiful moment because it's when sometimes we wake up to music, when we like just discover something that we find stimulating and, inspiring, or, captivates our attention. And I said, like, I don't know if he's liking it. I am liking it. I don't know if my dog is liking it, but he just made me remember how it feels when you really like music. And now this is going to be a weird question, but sometimes I have this fantasy that they give me like 30 minutes or 5 minutes to talk to my dog, and I have to say something to him and explain something. If you had the assignment of explaining to dogs what music is, what would you say to them? If you're a dog person, maybe you're a cat person, I don't know, or you don't like pets. How would you
No, I
explain
mean,
this to them?
wow, good question. I would definitely I don't know. I'll probably have to say, shut up and listen. Just listen. I don't know. That's a good question. I would definitely you know, have the pet next to me and play it and see how the pet reacted to it and whatnot, and maybe um, have some
If
kind
the
of a
pets,
treat involved. Yeah,
yeah,
some kind of a treat involved, kind of like a dog training thing, where the pet does something well, you give it a treat, and if you see the
yeah.
dog react well to the music, then you give it a treat. Like, okay, yeah, you like this. Okay, cool. Here it is. Something like that. I don't know. That's a really hard question.
I think if at some point it turned around and it said like, just imagine if you had to play a song for the first time to a dog and you're gonna have a conversation with it. Like, you play a song, which song would it be? And then if the dog says like, "What is music?" What would you say? Like, how would you explain it?
Um, I don't know. Shit. I would definitely play different music to see what the dog reacted to, and
Okay, okay,
then
okay.
yeah, and then I believe that pets definitely understand what the human being is saying. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
definitely find a way to when relate to the dog, like, hey, um put it on the record, and then and comfort the animal at the same time, while you're listening to it, and let them understand, like, it's something that you put your mind, you listen to, kind of. um
yeah,
that's the only way I could come up and answer with that question, but I definitely feel like animals also too relate to music, and sometimes you can see it, like with your pet. You can see when your dog lifted up its head and its ears up and was like, "What's that?" um I think they definitely understand that, they understand the frequency of what's going in their ears.
yeah. Well, that's beautiful. And just to let you know, I asked some of the people that follow my podcast what they would like to ask you if they had the chance to interview you. And they sent really cool questions. One of them, I think it was his name is his Instagram account is Arkham Bits. And he was saying like, what do you think of right now in Mexico with all the Corridos Tumbados and regional Mexican music, there's a lot of discussions of if it should be banned, if it should not be played, because it talks about drug dealers and everything. And I wanted to know from your perspective, like from where hip hop started, where you are now, what would you say to people who are trying to ban artistic expressions?
Well, I think trying to ban anything artistic is wrong in itself. Um, you know, and I understand the nature of corridos. I've listened to them. I have plenty of friends that play it around me, and I think it's a beautiful form of music, and the stories that they tell. A lot of them are reality based, and
Hmm.
for that reason, I don't think it's like if you were to say, well, um, we're gonna do a movie about El Chapo or something, right? And if someone says, "Oh, but he sold drugs and this and that," so you shouldn't do that kind of movie. But in reality,
Yeah.
yeah, you should because it talks about a person's view of life and what they had to do to survive, and the things that they had to encounter. And so it's cool to make a movie about it. So you have to think about it in the same way as in music. Um, it's cool to sing about it too because the fact that it inspired somebody to write a song about a certain situation. It inspired somebody to become a musician or to um to be that person that sings about um the things that they saw growing up in their country and whatnot, which is a part of life. And you could never
Hmm.
just turn off life, and there's gonna be people that are gonna want to talk about it and sing about it or act it out, and it's all the same thing, and none of that should be banned or stopped or in any kind of way. I think the best expressions that you could, the best kind of ways, the best things that people have come up with are things that they have seen in life and experienced in life. And if not them, maybe their brother or their father or someone they know went through the situation and whatnot, and it's a reality. And I definitely think that it's worth telling and worth seeing and worth hearing. Those kind of things. So I'm not with any kind of, I don't agree with any kind of, banning or anything like that. It's just not cool. It's just not, it is, that's not what it is. And if we did, and if that did happen, then us as humanity would be suffering because some of the best things, that we've seen or heard come from real life experiences that people have went through. And the rest of humanity needs to hear these things. So definitely,
Yes.
no, 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 no.
Hey, pues hasta ahí llegó la entrevista. Lamentablemente se nos acabó el tiempo y no pudimos hablar de muchas cosas más. Me encantaría que, no sé, me tocara sentarme en un vuelo de avión junto al señor Sed Dog y seguirle haciendo todas las preguntas que tenía que hacerle, pero se habló de lo importante. Recuerden que va a estar disponible a partir del 6 de junio este álbum en vivo con la Orquesta Sinfónica de Londres del Black Sunday. Está súper interesante. Si les gusta este tipo de episodios de mezclas abruptas, que no es que venga el artista o el invitado aquí a la casa estudio y pues de repente se den estas cosas como remotas, dejen los comentarios, dejen su like, háganmelo saber. Siempre va a estar chido hablar con artistas como Sed Dog, pero puede ser que esté sucediendo más frecuentemente. Saludos y agradecimientos a Ibero 90.9 también por el enlace y la conexión para esa entrevista. Y recuerden, poner el radio seguido les hace bien también, no todo es digital, pero sobre todo poner el radio los jueves a las 3 de la tarde para que me escuchen poniéndoles rolas y no hablando tanto. Creo que eso les va a caer mucho mejor. Dejen sus comentarios, acuérdense, y con esto me despido.
Mezclas abruptas con Susana Medina. Sigue o suscríbete a este podcast para recibir un nuevo episodio cada semana. Deja una reseña, de preferencia 5 estrellas. Excelente servicio. Y si quieres seguir la conversación, busca @mezclasabruptas o @SuzyRain, SUZY, Rain de lluvia en inglés, en Twitter o Instagram. Mezclas abruptas con Susana Medina.